Okay, hi everyone. Hope we've all had a great week. Welcome to our weekly Communities of Practice Sunday check-in session, a half hour of Dharma, reflection, and community connections. If you are a new member of our community, please accept our wholehearted welcome and know that if you're unsure or have any questions about our practices and topics, we're all here to help. And if you're a regular, welcome back. It is customary in Australia to begin any meeting by acknowledging the traditional owners of our land. So in the spirit of reconciliation, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we walk, study, and reside, the Wadi people of the Dharawal Nation, and pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. I also pay my respects to the traditional custodians of the various lands on which you all are. So just a little bit about our Sunday check-in sessions. The check-in sessions have been developed by our Communities of Practice team and the entire community with the purpose of developing a reflective practice in response to our changing world. Guided by humanistic Buddhism, we would like to help each other cultivate our practices and build memorable friendships. If you've been following along, you'll know that we tend to theme our sessions based on the needs of our community and the wider world. We invite you to suggest any topics you think would be of interest and benefit so that we can continue in this spirit. Last week, our good friend Katya guided us in exploring our resistance, and today Katya returns to offer an interesting new perspective on habits and how they can help or hinder us. So please welcome Katya.
Much, Liam, and thank you, and hello everyone, and great to see you here today. So yes, today's topic is using the power of habits to cultivate our compassion and awareness. The famous philosopher Merleau-Ponty in 1965 said that habits are acquired and socialized skills, gestures, techniques, and forms of tacit knowledge residing in the body and creating bodily know-how. So rather than trying to fight the unconscious mind work, as habits are often referred to, residing, let's explore how cultivating our awareness and compassion can help us connect with the body intelligence that drives our habits. And now let's do our mindful check-in. So closing your eyes and checking your posture, so that the back is straight. Shoulders back and relaxed. Arms and legs relaxed. And face relaxed. And starting to connect to your breath. And seeing your chest and belly rise with each in-breath and fall with each out-breath. Once connecting to the sense of calm and peace, starting to pay attention to one habit of the body. Perhaps the slightly slouched back, or shallow breath, or an impulse to cross the legs while sitting on a chair. Once found, simply observing, without judgment, accepting it for what it is. And staying with the breath for a few more moments. And in your time, coming back and remaining present, opening your eyes. Welcome back. So yeah, we're staying with this slide. In its goodness, meditation brings the light of awareness to where we may lack it, so that we could see clearer where we're functioning on the autopilot. Research shows that from 40 to 45% of our daily activities are performed through habits. It also demonstrates that habitual action radically minimizes our energy consumption. The human brain weighs only 2% of our body, but it consumes 20% of our whole energy supply. And to make this consumption as efficient as possible, our brain makes repeated behaviors cost very little energy. So the thicker the connections between neurons, the less energy is needed to activate the neurons and to perform a behavior. That is why the brain decides that repeated behaviors are important regardless of the habit's contents, whether it's getting up at 4:30 a.m. or smoking. And so when looking at our habits, we're tapping straight into our bodily intelligence, dealing with habit loops, the cues, for instance, putting the sneakers next to your bed, behavior, the morning run, and the reward, a cup of coffee at the favorite cafe on the way back from the run. We all know that breaking old habits and creating new ones can be extremely hard. This is no surprise. We're dealing with the entire unconscious motor and sensory-based force that drives our practice and shapes and defines our actions. In philosophy, such force is called habitus. I worked with Professor David Rooney and two other colleagues on this topic, and we published a paper in the Journal of Business Ethics on habitus of wise leaders. And powerfully, habitus is also called personal and cultural force because it is embodied in our bodies, but also between our bodies. Members of particular groups share the same habitus. For instance, fans of a football team will cheer and gesticulate spontaneously when their team scores a goal, as the minds and bodies work in concert. Community of practice meets every Sunday for meditation, connection, and reflection. Whether reactions or routines, they are all socially shaped habits of individuals. And so the dual nature of habits, individual and social, their rootedness in our bodies and our brains, their unconscious force, all of this requires a helping hand of enormous potency. And we are blessed to have it in the Buddha's wisdom, whose teaching addresses this challenge right on. Following Dharma, following the precepts, practicing meditation, and contributing to Sangha, we all can start transforming our habits and our habitus, our entire predisposition towards life. Instead of impulsive and lacking awareness reactions, which are often the embodiment of resistance, and its components of fear, dislike, and rejection, everything we talked about last week, practicing the good heart or bodhicitta is the essence of a good life and is the best possible habit. Bodhicitta, which is the heart filled with love and compassion, is also the essence of Buddha. In chapter 4, Humanistic Buddhism, holding true to Buddha's original intents, Venerable Master Shen Yong talks about the daily routines and practices of humanistic Buddhism, such as food, clothing, housing, and transportation as the basics for life, which were tremendously influenced by Buddhism. And through the text, there arises a deep respect to engage in these routines mindfully and with reverence. In approaching those necessities through the prism of the humanistic Buddhism, he says, The rituals of the 5 sessions of practice and 3 daily meals emphasize that life itself means spiritual cultivation. He continues to say that when monastics conduct themselves with demeanor, they gain the respect of devotees. So in monastic life, routine structure directs all the focus to cultivating Dharma. And how about non-monastic life? Wouldn't we all benefit from creating such structure which focus would be on our spiritual cultivation? So when I was looking at how we can work with our habits, I came across this acronym and I sort of joy straight away. And I couldn't resist putting it here as a little framework for the cultivation of habits that help us in practicing Dharma. So if you look closely to all the habits that help us in spiritual cultivation, it creates the acronym TIME. T for thankfulness. Be thankful for your opportunities and gifts. I for inspiration. Find it and keep. It will keep you engaged. And M for meditation. Take time to meditate and reflect. And E for exercise. Exercise for good health. So making time for these 4 things every day, the life will be much happier. So there is truth in saying that we are what we repeatedly do. And compassion is then not an act but a habit. And now we're coming to our final slide in this little presentation, was looking at the questions for our discussions. How do we unlearn the old unwholesome habits and learn the new ones, good ones? What is the social influence on our habits and how we can navigate it? And in which ways the Buddhist teaching can guide us in regarding our habits? Thank you for that. And I now hand it over to Liam to guide us through the transfer to our group discussions. Thank you.
Thank you, Katya. Now, dear community, it's over to you to discuss these questions. How do you unlearn the wholesome habits and learn the wholesome ones? What is the social influence on our habits and how can we navigate them? In which ways the Buddha's teaching can guide us regarding our habits? So now we'll be placed in groups of 3 to 4 to share and discuss. In the beginning, we do recommend spending a little bit of time to get to know each other, just so we can all get a little more comfortable sharing and discussing. Of course, let your discussions flow as they do, but we'll provide a few little prompts here and there to guide you. Our sessions are guided by metta, unconditional love and kindness for all beings. So let's use this opportunity to express and receive loving kindness to and from each other by taking time to pause, share, and listen. Afterwards, we'll ask you all to share some of your findings with the larger group, but for now, let's break out for some rich and nourishing discussions. We'll see you all back here in 15 minutes.
We're all back. I hope that you had wonderful and nourishing discussions on the topic. We definitely did. A few good insights there. So yes, please do write in the chat box so that we can share it, and then later on we'll put together our collective wisdom, which is our habit too. Weekly we receive that. Leichi writes, mindfulness of transforming habits such as anger, impatient to peace and calmness, hatred to kindness and compassion, rejection to tolerance, calculative to rejoice, practice diligently and patiently to build wholesome habits. For instance, daily check-in in the morning and night, quit smoking, etc. Yeah, that's a very, very good path for all of us to take, that's for sure. And we were talking about some attachments like addictions, which are quite hard sometimes to break. Not sometimes. If it's addiction, it's very hard to break. So how do we do that? Warren, use art, A-R-T, to achieve wholesome habits. A, adjust bad habits. Do a little less of our habits each time we catch ourselves. R, replace negative habits with positive habits. And T, transform our mind, kindness, wisdom, and light. Beautiful. Liam, abstinence or refraining from the habit allows it to die out and the brain rewires itself. That's great. Thank you so much, and please do keep writing. Cecilia wrote something. The greatest contribution of Buddhist thought to the world is mindfulness practice, yes, which goes deep into the psyche and reboot habitual and detrimental thought and emotional patterns. Meditation is it. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much for this contribution. So I want to keep reading, but please do keep writing. And Liam, can we complete our session for today? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Katya. So thank you, everyone. We really hope you've enjoyed this Sunday check-in session and that you experience the unconditional love and compassion of this community. For anyone who might be experiencing a greater need than what today could meet, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us by email, and you can also reach out to the professional organisations on the screen. We hope you're enjoying this month's check-in so far. Next week, we'll invite Katya back to share on transitions, and this is sure to be another very thought-provoking topic. So do be sure to join us then next Sunday on the 21st of August. We also have some other exciting events coming up. Our good friend, Professor Stephen Hill's much anticipated book launch is happening at the University of Wollongong on the 23rd of August. You can see the details there. We're also planning a special in real life Communities of Practice meetup on the 25th of September at Nantien Institute. It's been almost 2 years since we began this journey together, so it'll be nice to finally break out into real life groups. For now, though, as we finish up today, let's dedicate the merits of this check-in session and all of our efforts to each other and whoever is in need.
Let us now dedicate the goodness of what you have done to all living beings. May kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build affinities to benefit all beings. May Chan, Pure Land, and precepts inspire equality and patience. May our gratitude and humility give rise to great vows.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this check-in session. Now we'll continue with our usual post-check-in discussions. So please stay around for the next half an hour or so if you do have time. Otherwise, we'll see you again next Sunday at 11 a.m. Thanks, everyone.